Game time on the air. Final night before it starts for real. Warriors and Lakers in San Jose. JaVale McGee, a stretch five? Whoa! He only had one career three. Before that was in the regular season a bunch of years ago. Kyle Kuzma was starting unit with 19. Durant and LeBron sat this one out. More from Lakers Warriors later in the show. East Lansing, Blake Griffin. While he is not trying to make Smitty's top plays below the rim, Blake had 29 and tearing down the rim here, Smitty. Sorry.
Yeah, it's good to see Blake active and healthy. Love to see him attacking the rim.
Houston and Memphis Rockets backcourt in action on Friday.
Not fair what Chris Paul is doing. Not
Chris
fair.
Paul from the hash mark. Look at him. Rockets, their offense clicking after all the threes they made a couple days ago. Hornets and Mavs, Luka Doncic, 18 points, 4 threes, 4 assists, 1 turnover in 29 minutes. We'll talk Rookie of the Year conversation later on. The Jimmy Butler situation doesn't appear to be the Timberwolves' only problem. Giannis Antetokounmpo looks to be in midseason form. 32 points, 10 assists, 12 rebounds in 25 minutes. Bucks put up 148 on the Timberwolves. Giannis spinning and winning his way. And they look like they are heading into the regular season just right. Mike Budenholzer got them going. Not the same for Minnesota. On the final night of the preseason, the biggest story is about a guy who didn't play and wasn't even in the same city as his team. Welcome to a 60-minute edition of Game Time. I'm Jared Greenberg. Still to come, in-depth highlights from all 11 of Friday's games. Plus, Steve Smith gets us ready for the new year with his 5 takeaways from the preseason. We start, though, with the Timberwolves. 6 months removed from Jimmy Butler willing Minnesota to the playoffs, ending the league's longest active playoff drought 2 days after a wild practice session that quickly turned into an urban legend. And maybe most importantly, 5 days from the start of the season, Jimmy Butler wasn't with the Timberwolves for Friday's game, and reports are swirling that trade talks between Minnesota and Miami have stalled after Heat President Pat Riley directed some strong words, to put it kindly, towards Tom Thibodeau. NBA.com's Steve Aschburner has been covering the Butler-Wolves drama. On Friday, he was in Milwaukee speaking to coaches and players after shoot-around. Ash, welcome to the program. Let's start with this. What do you believe to be most likely between now and Wednesday's season opener for Minnesota? Butler gets traded, Butler suits up and plays for the Wolves Wednesday in San Antonio, or nothing changes and everything remains in a state of flux?
Well, there could have been another option you could have thrown at me, which would be Butler gets suspended by the Timberwolves. I mean, that's a possibility, too. I guess I'm going to go out on a limb and say Jimmy Butler suits up because he doesn't want to miss any game paychecks, and there's no indication that they're close to anything with any other team. So I think that things could get curiouser and curiouser, and Jimmy could find himself playing with a bunch of guys that either he doesn't approve of or they don't approve of him, or you have to take everybody's pulse on an hourly basis around that club to find out who's got stink eye for another guy.
Well, that's exactly where I want to go next. You mentioned Glenn Taylor, the team's owner. It's 2018, so of course, every time you breathe, there is a new layer to the story that gets reported. We've heard about Glenn Taylor's reported role in trade talks. I'm curious what you have been hearing, who is making and taking trade calls, and how ultimately does all of this impact Tom Thibodeau's job security, if there is more to it than you said, than a mandate just simply to make the playoffs?
Well, I mean, let's be pragmatic. Counting this year, Thibodeau is owed $24 million. And, even for a guy who's a double billionaire, that's real money. Glenn Taylor does not want to eat that kind of money and pay another guy to coach in the process. So you can say his job security is not great. I don't think that a lot of people have been fair with Thibodeau. And I talked about what he was brought in to do and what people signed off on, right up until, a month or so ago when this started to blow up. So, speculation about his job security, I don't know. It might be real or not. I mean, Glenn Taylor has made some pretty shaky decisions in the past. So to say, well, he's going to get impatient with Thibodeau here and hold him accountable. I know there are a lot of people that don't like Tom because he's tough for us to deal with in the media, and they feel that his systems are not 2018 modern for the NBA. I I still think that he's a terrific coach, and he cares first and foremost about his team winning games. And if players have a problem with that, then it may say as much about them as it does about their coach.
Ash, you've covered Kevin Garnett throughout his career. You've written a lot about the big ticket. I want to read this quote that he gave to The Athletic today, written by John Krasinski. He says, it's an expletive storm up there. What's really the expletive storm is that can't nobody keep expletive in practice. What goes on in practice should always stay in practice, and what goes on between two conglomerates as businesses should always stay private. Everything is so expletive public now. He also, KG, went on to place blame on all parties for what has gone on there. But curious what you think about the impact Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins will have to all of this. They're both signed to long-term deals, and anyone within the organization, I'm curious if you feel that they're expressing concern that some of what Kevin Garnett is talking about here could be irreparable long-term damage on the franchise.
Could be. I mean, I think that there is comfort in those numbers that they have, both in length of contract and in value of contract. I mean, they have to understand that they have been chosen, and maybe they contributions. You know what? You mentioned Garnett, and let me say, and Minnesota's supposed to be getting his whole run in Minnesota, and mates and coaches and everything else, but he did that to fuel himself. He did that to energize his teammates. This stunt on Wednesday was done selfishly as a way to set up a prearranged interview, with a national network, and it didn't have the betterment of the team in mind at all. Kevin Garnett ran on that kind of intensity, and Jimmy Butler is almost sort of a fake KG if he's trying to beat his chest and say that somehow the Timberwolves are better off when he does something like he did on Wednesday.
Strong words, but great perspective from a man who has covered the Kevin Garnett years in Minnesota. Ash, hope you got your phone charger ready to go. We may need you throughout the weekend. Appreciate your time on this night.
Thanks, Jared.
All right, check out Steve Aschburner on NBA.com for more. Now, following the beatdown that the Wolves took in their preseason finale, Karl Anthony Towns was sounding the alarm, saying, quote, everybody in this league, I don't care if you're the Golden State Warriors, my rookie year, the 95-96 Bulls, you're going to lose some games, but you can't get embarrassed. That's just unacceptable. We don't got no more time to be saying, oh, it's okay, it's preseason. This momentum we're riding right now, this wave we're riding, it's not good. It's not good at all. And coming from a guy who's usually pretty positive, we welcome in another man who's always looking at the optimistic side of things, Steve Smith. Now, if there wasn't enough layers to this Jimmy Butler drama, how about Heat President Pat Riley issuing a statement denying the ESPN report that I referenced earlier, that he, quote, used that kind of language during a conversation with Tom Thibodeau. However, in saying that, Pat Riley is indeed admitting that the Heat and Timberwolves have engaged in Jimmy Butler trade talks, which you never hear about. This thing is wild.
Yeah, it is, and I think whatever the language was used or not used, I think what's happening right now is when you look at two organizations, two presidents or GM, whatever the decisions makers are, is when you have a trade that's close to going down and then there's a monkey wrench thrown in it, this is where the other side gets upset because the deal doesn't go through. You have to go back. Two presidents or GM, whatever the decisions makers are, is when you have a trade that's close to going down and then there's a monkey wrench thrown in it, this is where the other side gets upset because the deal doesn't go through. You have to go back and your players here, and obviously a business, but you had something set in stone that doesn't go through, it becomes upsetting. And I think they have to go back to the drawing board. And this is where I think on the Timberwolves side, they don't really want to trade Jimmy Butler if you're Tom Thibodeau, and if you're Pat Riley, we thought we had a deal done to make our team much better if you added Jimmy Butler.
Minnesota last year, 15 games above 500 when Jimmy Butler played, 3 games under 500 when he didn't play. Much more on the Jimmy Butler drama to come, with opening week tipping off just 4 days away. Several teams facing major injury concerns. How about Russell Westbrook here? It's unknown if he'll be ready to play Tuesday night against the Warriors. Westbrook still not cleared for full contact following right knee surgery exactly 1 month ago, which has kept him out the entire preseason. Coach Donovan said that Westbrook is moving in the right direction, but Tuesday's still too far out to make a call.
Well, we know Russell Westbrook is going to go 100 miles per hour, whether it's on the court, whether it's his rehab with his knee. One good thing for him is you want him to take time, because when he comes out there will be no period where he's testing his knee. He will be going full blast. And the good thing for them is they have a guy like Dennis Schroeder's doing a nice job at the point guard position.
More on Schroeder later in the program. The start to Dirk Nowitzki's historic 21st season in Dallas is being put on hold. The 40-year-old won't be ready for opening night as he continues to work his way back from ankle surgery. There's no timetable for Dirk's return. Coach Carlisle saying on Friday that he expects Dirk to be out multiple weeks. As soon as Dirk does play, he will break Kobe Bryant's record for most seasons with one team. Coach also saying that the team is preparing to open the season without Harrison Barnes due to a hamstring injury.
Well, you know, injuries is tough, and obviously for Dirk Nowitzki, you want to see Dirk come out there, just have that last swan song of him having a great career. And obviously I would love to see him on opening night. Everybody can cheer him, but once he gets back, we understand he's Dirk Nowitzki. He's earned the right to come in and knock down some jump shots, help this team, and I'm still glad to see him around. Harrison Barnes' injury is going to hurt them a little bit starting this season. A team like the Dallas Mavericks, who didn't make the playoffs, you want to try to get off to a good start.
The Spurs continue to take body blows. Derek White, the latest to get bit by the Spurs' contagious injury bug. The promising young guard suffered a left foot injury during his start Wednesday night. No official return has been listed, however. Coach Popovich told reporters that White could miss 2 to 4 weeks. White was the Spurs' leading scorer during Summer League, and he helped the Austin Spurs win the 2018 G League Championship. White got the start for DeJounte Murray, who's out for the year after tearing his ACL. Look at this injury list. Unknown if Rudy Gay will be ready for next week. Lonnie Walker, mentioned White and Murray.
And then also, not injuries, but there's no Manu Ginobili retirement, and Tony Parker, two guys that have been with Popovich, and, you know, the trust factor and the, obviously, familiarity with those guys. And now you're looking at, there's a lot of guards and wings out, and some young guys who need this time, and also some guards that you need, because there are not a lot of ball handler decision makers on that roster right now. 21
consecutive seasons making the playoffs. That looks like it is in serious jeopardy to start the year. Opening week right around the corner, and of course NBA TV will get you set before and after each night here on NBA TV. You'll want to tune over to TNT on Tuesday and Thursday for a pair of doubleheaders during opening week. It all gets started Tuesday. Boston and Philly in what many believe will be an Eastern Conference Finals preview. Then you'll see the Warriors hang their third banner in 4 years as Durant, Curry, Clay, and Draymond, as well as the entire Warriors squad, welcome the Thunder. Still to come, the results of Smitty's 3-week project. He has his 5 takeaways from the preseason, and the Knicks weren't the only ones who had eyes on an undrafted scoring machine. And next on Game Time, complete in-depth highlights and Smitty's reaction to the final tune-up for the Lakers and Warriors. Game Time coming back.